Nikkei Asia, 12th of June 2023, China's dual objectives in Myanmar, access to the Indian Ocean and reducing criminality. China has emerged as the chief supporter of the generals in charge for over 2 years since the Chinese-sponsored Myanmar military seized power. There is mounting evidence that Beijing has gotten closer to Myanmar to combat international criminal gangs, contrary to popular belief, which held that Beijing was extensively involved in Myanmar to obtain access to critical locations in the Indian Ocean. When Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, the leader of Myanmar, met with Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang in Naypyitaw on May 2, it was clear that the bordering nations had a cordial relationship. China thinks that the international community should respect Myanmar's sovereignty and help the country achieve peace and reconciliation, according to a statement released by the Chinese Foreign Ministry following the meeting. According to the Foreign Ministry, China would also continue to assist in Myanmar's development within its capacity and accelerate key cooperation projects of the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor. The declaration emphasized Beijing's backing of the military regime and opposition to the pressure campaign run by the United States and Europe with the help of sanctions. According to a report of the meeting by the Myanmar military, Qin claimed that his visit demonstrated how China stands with Myanmar in the international community. Beijing has clarified that it is willing to sabotage Myanmar's efforts abroad. For instance, China and Russia have used their positions as members of the UN Security Council to reject the organization's sanctions. Senior Chinese officials, though, haven't spoken to Myanmar's top brass until recently. The meeting between Qin and Min Aung Hlaing gave the strong sense that China was elevating the relationship. The focus on the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor suggests Beijing's reasons for engaging. As part of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, Qin met with Deng Sui, the foreign minister of Myanmar, on his visit in May and proposed a second economic route that would connect China, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. India has been reluctant to participate in Belt and Road initiatives, so this would allow China to bypass them. India's absence might be remedied by creating an economic corridor through Bangladesh, China, and Myanmar. China seems to be using Qin's visit to normalize relations because the Rohingya problem has strained ties between Myanmar and Bangladesh. In the end, it is aiming for the Indian Ocean. Concerns over the construction of military facilities on Myanmar's Great Cocoa Island, which was thought to have started in late March, have been raised by Chinese-backed infrastructure projects in that country. An extended runway and new airplane hangars were discovered in an examination by the British think tank Chatham House using satellite images obtained in January by the American company Maxar Technologies. Nearly 400 kilometers south of Yangon in the Bay of Bengal sits the little but crucial island of Great Cocoa. It is ideally situated as a monitoring base because it is close to India's military installations on the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. China and Myanmar have officially denied any Chinese participation, although India has expressed grave alarm about the development. While China's influence has grown and Myanmar's economic problems have worsened due to the military coup in Naypyitaw, India finds it impossible to dismiss its concerns. In both a military and economic sense, China has long given strategic importance to its relationship with Myanmar. From the Indian Ocean coast to Yunnan Province, China, the pipeline that transports crude oil from the Middle East is anchored by Myanmar. The importance China places on the projects strategically is demonstrated by Qin's push to expand the China-Myanmar Economic Corridor and the recently proposed China-Myanmar-Bangladesh Economic Corridor. Fighting organized crime, however, is also a critical concern. The day following his meeting with Min Aung Hlaing and others, a headline reading, "Qin Gang, China hopes Myanmar will crack down on internet fraud," appeared on the website of the Chinese Foreign Ministry. The statement stated that Qin Gang made the point that internet and telecom fraud gangs have long called Myanmar's border regions home. These gangs have gravely harmed Chinese nationals' interests and are despised by the Chinese people. The Chinese government places a high value on and is committed to enforcing strict laws against that. China requests that Myanmar take immediate action, work with relevant departments to advance the combined Thailand-Myanmar military operation, and quickly free any trapped Chinese people. There are several ethnic minorities, including individuals with Chinese ancestry, living in the hilly northern region of Myanmar, which borders China. There are insurgent groups there, and the area has long been a haven for criminals and dissidents in China. Beijing has had to devote a lot of attention to the site due to the territory's recent development as a significant center for online fraud targeting residents of mainland China. The posting by the Foreign Ministry withholds information regarding who, when, or where Qin requested Myanmar to crack down. However, China was probably in touch with democratic and ethnic minority forces working against the government in addition to military government officials. This would demonstrate how critical the situation is for Beijing. The Foreign Ministry stated that Qin had checked the border region before traveling to Naypyitaw, indicating that the call for a crackdown was a primary focus of the visit. In truth, the Chinese Foreign Ministry website continues to refer to former President Win Mint, who was imprisoned following the military takeover, as the head of state, and Aung San Suu Kyi, who served as the country's foreign minister and state counselor, as the president's crucial second-in-command. The country's leader, not acting President Mintsway, is designated Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, while Min Aung Hlaing is identified as Vice President. The official transcripts of Qin's meetings and state-run media in China refer to Min Aung Hlaing as Myanmar's president but do not use his official titles of chairman of the State Administration Council or interim prime minister. This suggests that Beijing has not formally acknowledged the change in leadership. That allows China to contact ethnic minority groups opposed to military rule and pro-democracy forces, enabling it to ask for their assistance in battling online fraud while simultaneously defending Beijing's rights over things like the pipeline and protecting the safety of its residents. It also implies that China is attempting to strengthen its negotiation position with the military regime. This viewpoint demonstrates how delicate Beijing's diplomatic approach to Myanmar is. It is opposed to Myanmar's return to democracy, but it firmly favors the military regime. China is fundamentally at odds with nations calling for the return of democracy in Myanmar. To find a way for Myanmar to move toward peace and prosperity, however, it will be necessary to maintain contact with Beijing and pursue cooperation where possible.